You ever see those posts on X where they say, what would you do if you woke up and XRP was X dollars? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I would do. And this happened today. I woke up and XRP was almost $3.30. It pumped overnight. It pumped yesterday. It's been pumped 47% in the last 9 days. And so what I did is I got super excited. I made this video. We're going to talk about why it's pumping, why we're seeing this massive rally. We're going to talk about the leveraged XRP ETF that got approved and started, I think, yesterday. We're going to talk about the regulatory environment and where I see XRP going and can it hit $5 this cycle. So with no further ado, remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm just sharing you what I think and what I think is going on, why I think it's going on. It's just my opinion. You don't need to act on it. If you like what you see, hit the like button down below. If you don't like it, put a comment. Let me know what you didn't like about my video. And if you're not a subscriber, now is the time to subscribe. So with no further ado, let's get to it. So we're going to talk about this XRP pump that we've had the last couple days. And the first thing I want to talk about is, look, if you look at this right here, this is July 8th. To where we are now, it's a 47% pump. And we pumped up to 330. We've pulled back a little bit to where are we at? 228 or 3. I'm sorry, not 2, 3. It's hard to say threes. We haven't seen threes in a while. But we pumped back up to 330 and pulled back just a little bit to about 328. And so it's been a nice rally. And look at this. In the last 7 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the daily candle. I mean, we're up 30% this week. So you got to think about where XRP's been. If you look at a chart, if I go on the weekly, it's been a long ride for XRP. It came out, it pumped up to like 330 back in 2018. In 2020, we had the regulatory, right around December 2020, we had the regulatory issues, December of 2020, I believe. So right here, it dropped down. It still was able to pump. And then more regulatory issues, more lawsuits, and then it's been trading sideways. It pumped last November with word that Donald Trump was elected president. And as you can see, we ran up all the way to 334, 335-ish, came down, consolidated, wedged up, and here's where we've been. Now, if I can take this even further out, we've been in this downward descending channel, consolidating to the pump. All right. Now, what's pumped it? I mean, there's so much bullish news on XRP out there. I mean, you can talk about Brad Garlinghouse's relationship with the government. He's out there pumping, his product throughout the world. Bank of Japan, Bank of America. A lot of people are allegedly using this technology. There's a lot of fear that XRP was the backer of all CBDCs. Well, we're not seeing that as much as we're seeing institutional adoption in the background potentially, and with an ETF lingering, with approval of the execution of a leveraged ETF, and I believe that one, what is that called? I have this here somewhere. ProShares UXRP. It's a 2 times leveraged XRP futures ETF that launched July 17th. That's today. So that launches today. So it's going to be very curious to see how this pumps XRP. This might be the reason why it's pumping in the short term. There's other reasons why XRP is pumping in the short term. And this is very important. It's not just XRP that's pumping. It's Bitcoin. It's Cardano. It's Ethereum has seen a massive run up. And really, 2 days ago, in the procedural vote got shot down for crypto bills. And now Donald Trump pulled them into the 12 people into his office, said something to them. And it says the Republican rebels dropped I love how they call them the Republican rebels, dropped their opposition after GOP leaders said that they would attach a measure banning CBDC, a government-issued digital dollar that conservatives say would open the door to privacy invasions, to a must-pass defense authorization bill. The deal came following a late-night meeting in House Speaker Mike Johnson's office. So basically, they were holdouts because there's like 12 of them. They were holding out because they were worried that this would be a backdoor to a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, which if you've been involved in crypto a long time, that's a fear of many because that is an invasion of privacy. It gives the U.S. the ability to see every single microtransaction you make, as far as your spending goes. It would has the ability for them to cut your money off and all these things that, that's just not something I want personally. So I'm happy that they put that provision in there to stop the possibility of a CBDC. I believe this will go to vote today or at latest tomorrow, at least for the Genius Act. So you have the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the anti-CBDC bill. So the Genius Act is the one that is basically makes stablecoin be backed 1-to-1 with a real asset, a US dollar or a treasury. And that would give strength to our financial system, our monetary system, in my opinion. Now, other people have argued that it does other things, but it makes other countries buy our debt. Right now, we're having a hard time selling our debt because we have so much of it. Now, other countries buy our debt. It increases the price of those bonds, which decreases the yield or the interest rates. And cheaper money allows us, because we're borrowing money. Let's face it, this big, beautiful bill, I don't care what you think about it, good, bad, or indifferent. It will make us have to pump money into the economy. Now, that's not great unless we see a bigger return in revenue, basically tax revenue, to pay off our debt. And it has to grow at 4 to 7% a year. Well, if that's the case, risk on assets, if interest rates are going to be driven down, there's going to be a movement towards risk on assets, such as, gold is people are going to flock to quality, but also stocks, real estate, crypto might benefit from that as well. So all this together is helping the crypto markets pump right now. Also cheap money. I mean, when there's cheap money, if I can keep my money in the bank at 5%, I'm like, do I really want to go out and risk my money on other things? Like, do I want to buy a T-bill at 4.5% if I get 5% on a savings account? Probably not. But if my savings account's at 1%, well, then I'm going to have to go find money or ways to have my money make money, or else it's going to actually depreciate, because the dollar on average depreciates at like 5 or 9% a year, regardless of what inflation says. What your dollar gets you devalues at around 9% per year. That's, a lot of different things have said that in the past. So here's a couple things that we got to look out for. Where is XRP going? Well, nobody really knows. Let's make that very, very clear. Nobody really knows exactly where XRP is going. We can look at past performance, even though it's not going to be indicative of future results, as they say. We have to kind of look in the past to see, hey, what happened in the past? Well, with XRP, it's pretty tough. And here's why. It's because of the regulatory shadow that's overcasted on, XRP in this world. It's hard to say what really happened in the past. But let's just take a Fibonacci extension from, let's do two different ones. Let's take it from previous cycles high, or right there, which shows us, this is very interesting, isn't it? We're pushing up against the 1, right? Then you look at up here. Well, if you believe that that you could go to the 1618 Fibonacci, which is not totally unreasonable, that puts us at a 5.262 valuation. So $5.26 valuation on XRP. Now look at this. 2618 puts us around 8395. And the 3618 puts us at around $11. So where do you think XRP is going this cycle, this year? I'll tell you where I think it's going. This is not financial advice. This is not a prediction. This is a wild ass guess, or as they call it, a wag. I think in the short term, okay, now let's look at one more thing before I give you that. Right here, let's draw the fib from here. Recent market cycle highs, recent cycle lows. Again, we're still pushing up against the 1, right? Still pretty much in that realm. And I believe if we can hit, I don't think that this 4.41 is out of the picture in the near term. I don't believe that this right here is going to be hard to capture. We'll be in uncharted territory. And if the money printers pump, we could see this be achieved in the short term. Now, that's a possibility. This is not financial advice. Don't go out and make decisions based on this. This is one crazy guy's opinion of what could happen. This is a wild ass guess. All right. So it could also very easily get rejected at this level, which we're at this level. We've been rejected one time. If you pull out to let's go out to the 4 hour. I got a lot of lines here. Let's pull it back. If If you go back to this 4-hour, let's just get rid of some of these lines. You can see that it's right here. It's pushing up against this zone. It's pushing up against the one Fibonacci at 332. And so if it powers past that, if it keeps getting rejected, we could see it go down. I mean, we could come back down to recent market cycle lows. But if it pushes through there and there's enough power to push through that ceiling of resistance, we could see it fly up to the 1618. And that is around $4.40 some cents. And it's funny because recent analyst, I think his name, Peter Brandt, he predicts a 60% rally going up to that 447. Other analysts put it between 350 and 450. What's the real market value of XRP? What's the real market value of their technology? What if they take over Swift? What if the spot ETF gets approved in the next couple of days? When will the SEC drop all the charges? I've heard all kinds of rumors on this. What is holding XRP back? It's these things. Is it truly the liquidity provider, the cross-border payment provider that they talk about? Are banks really going to adopt XRP in the numbers that everybody is talking about? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen with XRP? What do you think of my wild-ass guess, and where is your money? Just to be clear, XRP is my second biggest holding. I'm not trying to pump that bag. I hold it because I believe these things, and I will as quickly sell it if I don't believe these things. And I will certainly let you know when I'm selling. Right now, I haven't sold pretty much anything other than my trades. I've rotated in between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and right now that's proved very profitable. And with XRP, I'm just looking at, I do have, I'll show you a couple leverage trades I've been in and out of, like on right here. You can't see that. XRP, I'm this one right here. I'm up 277%. I have added and subtracted all up and down on this trade. I only have about 820 XRP in this trade, and it's on $150 of margin. But I've gone up and down on this one. I've pulled out, I've sold, I bought back in. I started doing this at around $2.10, and then my average open price is $2.75 because I keep buying and selling. So again, I believe that XRP can go to 447 if all these things are met, if we don't have a black swan event, if regulatory doesn't come back and stick the death knife into XRP again. So that's all I got. I hope you got some value out of this today. If you did, hit the like button, share, do all those things, and I will see you next time.